Madam Chair, you are live.
Thank you so much. At 5:04 p.m., I'm going to call the Wednesday, July 5th Quality of Life Committee meeting to order. May I please have a roll call?
Councillor Michael Garcia,
Present.
Councillor Lee Garcia.
He will be late, but be here in approximately 10 minutes.
Thank you, Councillor Amanda Chavez.
She's excused.
Councillor Cassette Chair.
Cassett, I'm
Cassett.
here. And Councilwoman Villarreal is also excused.
Councillor Viry. Okay, you do not have a quorum.
We do not have a quorum. We shall have a quorum at about 5:15. So we will just go ahead and move on to presentations at this time, since we do not have to vote to get there. And then we will circle back to go to approval of the agenda. So moving on to presentations, we will have the Santa Fe Data Platform, Better Data, Better Decisions, and the Future of Policymaking for Santa Fe. We have Cindy Kahn and Heather Hunter here to present. So thank you so much for being here. Really looking forward to this, and come on up and let us know if you need IT help.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair and Quality of Life Committee. We are so excited to be here to present today about the Santa Fe Data Platform. It's not. We just tested it, Mike. Alex?
Alex, can we get some assistance?
Oh. My computer seems to. Let's see if my computer restarted because of the problem. I unplugged it. My apologies. We were so ready till we weren't.
That's all right. We have time. We don't have any quorum, so we're good.
Just killing time for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Heather's gonna sing a song and do an interpretive dance.
I think it's a good idea. Just make sure you have the mic, or else it won't show up on YouTube, and that's
TikTok, go viral.
I don't know how to use TikTok.
I don't either.
I'm apparently the right age, but I don't know how to do it anyway. Yeah. As I always say, I'm the worst millennial that ever millennialed. Minus the student debt. Did that part right.
There.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Really doesn't like. There we go. This is embarrassing. All right, sorry. Okay. Here's all the things. Hopefully my text will start popping up too. And actually we'll need the internet as well. We had this all set up, I promise. As Elizabeth is my witness. Okay, we should be good. All right.
This is good. Now Lee won't miss too much. I'm actually in favor of this. So thank you.
I'll kill time for you any day. All right. Okay. So. Please. All right. So I'm very happy to present to you today the Santa Fe Data Platform. As Councillor Cassett mentioned, I'm Cindy Kahn. I have been the executive director of the Santa Fe Data Platform for 4 years. This project started as the brainchild of the City of Santa Fe Economic Development Department, Thornburg Foundation, the Santa Fe Community Foundation, Meow Wolf, and a small group of others, and Quorum St. Vincent, all came together, and we realized that the best cities in the world leverage the power of data to make really good evidence-based decision-making. So 4.5 years ago, we put together a very small team and started building this big idea. And we now have the Santa Fe Data Platform. This is an example of our dashboard. It's sort of a refined version of our dashboard. We have 4 different, this is the platform. We have 4 different dashboards on our platform right now. We have residents and visitors. We have public health. We have economy and innovation, which Rich has really led and has made this dashboard very exciting. And we also have climate resilience and sustainability. And that is actually a city dashboard they created on their own. And we've partnered with them to bring this onto our dashboard and spotlight their great work in that department. So you can peruse anything on any of these dashboards for free. They are all very user-friendly. The graphics are gorgeous. And what we realized is that anyone can have access to certain types of data, but to really have beautiful visualizations and the context and the narratives that put what you're looking at in context and help people understand how data can be leveraged for better decision-making, for better policy-making, philanthropy, public engagement. As I said, we started with a really small group. And over the past 4 years, we've grown to over 13 partners. We added, I think it was probably 8 partners in the past year. So we have really built incredible momentum in all different sectors. You can see we have everything from Southwest Care to Fly Santa Fe to the Animal Humane Society to Con Alma, really a wide array. We have HomeWise, we have Meow Wolf, Georgia O'Keeffe Museum. So we're really using all sorts of different organizations and industries to make a difference in our city. Our users, as I said, they come from all different sectors. And what we've done is sort of broken down what we do in different sectors to help the community. I won't read all of these to you, but really from community foundations to financial institutions, education, environment. And we only see this growing more as we go. The more use cases we've used, the more people we've worked with, the more we realize this tool is infinitely powerful, and it creates so much transparency and clarity for decision-making across pretty much every sector. Again, what is the value of data? If you're looking at things like community-based organizations using data to improve community social well-being, the platform provides the data and the story to people and connection to the community. Government, obviously, you all using this for policymaking, having leaders have better clarity of what the issues are. The other thing I see is often at city council meetings or in public hearings, often the decision goes to the loudest person in the room, the person with the most money in the room, or the most tenacious. And this really levels the playing field so you can get much more equitable decision-making and much more just logical, less emotional decision-making for cities, which I think is profoundly important. The industries we look at, again, we're doing foundations, economic development, healthcare and wellness, media and information, food and agriculture, affordable housing, arts and culture, tourism, and we want to keep growing. And we feel like there are some very specific areas we want to dive into. Heather's going to get into that. But again, the more we grow, we also just redid our website and our logo. You're looking at our brandly new released logo and some of our brand new graphics. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Heather Hunter, who is going to talk about our accomplishments and what's next.
Yeah, I've been on almost a year, and Cindy and I have just really been breaking new ground and making new paths forward. Some of the new partnerships that we've brought on, we're doing some geofencing and some mobility data for SWIA. So Indian Market this year, we're going to be able to go back and track from 2017, 2018, 2022, and then 2023. So they're going to have this really great breadth of data to look at as far as the growth and the changes that they've incurred. As far as grants and funding are concerned, we've just received another $50,000 from the Thornburg Foundation. We've submitted grants to LANL as well as the New Mexico Community Foundation, and we're currently awaiting a response for ongoing financial support from Ancorum St. Vincent, who's my employer. Our latest projects, we've been doing some really exciting, diverse projects. We've done a really great project for Fly Santa Fe, and we've given them extensive data to show them how they can use this data in proposals to bring on new airlines and new flights into Santa Fe with current airlines and with new airlines. We've created a scope of work to work with the City of Santa Fe's Economic Development Department for ongoing work and support as well. We've completed a presentation to the EDD with their team, so they would all be familiar because it is a new team. And we wanted them to be familiar with the Santa Fe data platform so that when they're talking to constituents or new businesses or entities, they can use us as a reference. And we've also just gotten approval today. Randy Randall decided that he's ready to separate tourism from residents. So we're going to be building out a specific tourism dashboard that will be very robust and really exciting not only for our city, but for people that are looking to come to Santa Fe for events and whatnot. Looking ahead, we are continuing working with the University of New Mexico's Anderson School for Center for Economic Excellence. We're building an interesting partnership with them that's still in the development phase, but it's really shows a lot of promise. We're also preparing a press release rollout for regional press coverage. Not only are we talking about our new website and our new logo, but we've got all of these great partnerships and prospects in line. We're also working on exploring our statewide expansion. And we see a great need in the state of New Mexico for more data in communities like Farmington and Las Cruces and Roswell and even Albuquerque. And Cindy is presenting at Creative Santa Fe next week in the Pechacucha. So if you are coming to Pechacucha, please take note. Cindy's going to be a star. Up next, so we've got a lot of things on the back burners, but certainly the most pressing one, and the reason that we're here with you today, is to talk about building out a public safety dashboard that would include fire and police data points. And we know that our community wants access to these pieces of information. And we also know, in talking with some of our data providers, that there is not a single city in this nation that has a public safety dashboard that features both police and fire data points. So if this is something that we all agree and move forward on, we will be the first city in the country to have a public safety dashboard that features police data and fire data. And we're really jazzed about that. I think it could be a national media opportunity for us. And so I just want to drop that in there for you. This could be really big. So in that, we're showing you today 2 data sets that the police department puts out. This is what they give to city council. It's hard to discern and kind of make sense of it. It's just a CSV spreadsheet, right? This is from March and the next one is from April. And so what we're going to show you next is what we envision as possible for a public safety dashboard. Okay. Yeah, will you? Okay, thank you.
We didn't rehearse this.
So this is a really great example of a report. Now it is a report, but this could easily be turned into a dashboard. And this report is really taking the data that we got from the Public Safety Committee, I guess. We downloaded the information and we've turned it into beautiful graphics that make much more sense and that are much more easily digested by humans, right? And so as you can see, the first graph shows you crime occurrences for high frequency. And we've broken these down into high frequency and low frequency. And if you put there you go, Cindy, thank you. So what this shows is just the changes in the data from month to month, from January, February, March, and April, for sex offenses, arson, robbery, homicide offenses. Those are all low frequency, while assault, larceny, theft, burglary, and motor vehicle theft are high frequency offenses. And so we've measured those out for you so you can see how they're changing over time. And the majority of the offenses for the city of Santa Fe Police Department, most of the offenses that they spend their time on in this third graph you'll see is larceny and theft and assault. So burglary and break-ins come in third, and motor vehicle theft ranks fourth. And while there are sex offenses, the forcible ones, arson and robbery, they're really negligible in numbers. And we've had no homicides yet in 2023. Oh, sorry, I'll change my data. There's been 3. And then when you look at year-to-year changes for high frequency to low frequency offenses, it's just very interesting. You can see that for 2023, we're only half a year. Well, this was through April. We were very much higher in burglary, assaults, larceny, and theft, and motor vehicle. They're all up significantly just based on the first 4 months of the year. But with these graphs, they're just much more easily digested, right, and understood than a spreadsheet. Alternatively, when we look at the low frequency crimes, we see that homicides and arson have increased over last year, as has forcible sex offenses. So if you put your cursor over there you go. So last year, sex offenses were 22 for the entire year. And this year so far, we're at 27. But robberies were up last year and they're down this year, almost by half so far. And then when we compare response times from March and April, we can see a little bit of change in there. Priority 1 times are pretty steady, while April's priority 2 times increased by 12 minutes and 13 minutes for priority 3 calls. Media response times are pretty, again, steady for priority 1 and 2. In April, priority 3 were delayed by 3 minutes compared to March.
I just want to add that, obviously this is an example of a report that we did based on outside data that we created for this specific presentation. We can create any report on pretty much any data set or any query. And from these data reports, they come just like this. We can add images, we can add narratives. Our partners have found this extremely helpful in anything from Fly Santa Fe presenting to airlines, but also, the Animal Humane Shelter pitching to their potential funders, or the Farmers Market Institute showing reports to their farmers to show the importance of doing events and how much events drive traffic to the area, because farmers thought that the events were taking away their business when actually they were adding business by like 500 people per event. And the other thing about these reports is you can download them as a link. You can also send them as PDFs. So they're all very easy to report, to change, to add, and to send out and move around. So this is just one example of any type of report we can do on any of the topics that you saw in our earlier presentation.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate you both being here and the work that you've been doing. Questions, comments from members of the committee? Councilor Michael Garcia.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for the presentation. I really appreciate getting the updates from your group. I guess just a couple quick questions around the proposal for the safety data. And I find it interesting that we would be the first in the country to do something, because I know that other municipalities, especially when you look at major cities like Los Angeles, New York, they have crime tracking, so to speak. So different way of presenting the data, but they still have the
difference is that we've not seen, and from our data providers, we're not 100% sure, but what we've heard is combining fire and data is the unique aspect of this.
oh,
So cities have fire dashboards, they have police dashboards, but we think it would be invaluable to combine the two, because fire responders are often going to 911 calls and really looking at the entire system of these issues and how cause and effect happens at that combined level.
thank you, Ms. Khan. I appreciate the clarification, because I was thinking, wait, I know
Yeah.
that there's.
So there are crime dashboards and all, yeah, but we think it'd be interesting to combine them, and that has not happened as far as we know.
Okay. I appreciate that clarification. One thing just for public awareness, the CSB that you had presented earlier, at least I don't receive that as a counselor. So don't want the public to think that that report that you presented, we get. At least I as a counselor don't receive that. So.
We can't hear you when you're not on a mic. So if you could just pop onto the mic to provide that information.
So, Mr. Brown, could you help us clarify where I got that from? Kira Ochoa sent me a link to download meetings and meeting minutes and things from council committees. And I don't remember exactly where I downloaded it from. It took me a long time, Michael, to find it. Believe me.
And I think we produced that on the city's website, but we, just like as any other member of the public, would have to go onto the city's website and look.
That's where I had to go to, and it took me like a good 45 minutes. I was frustrated, but I did not give up. Indefatigable that way. She said it's
Understandable.
there. So I had to dig and dig and dig and dig, which is another reason why we think that, and we understand that not all data sets would be available to the public, but we think that certain data sets should be available to the public. And we think that that's one of the reasons why this public safety dashboard could be really enlightening and illuminating, not only for our public safety teams, but city council and just community members at large, just to see how we're performing and how we're ranking and how our community is handling these waves, right?
No, I agree. And I think that's something that's, at least I've heard from constituents in regards to how do I find out what's going on in my community? You know, historically, and I think this stopped probably maybe about 10 years ago, the New Mexican would produce their daily police reports, and it would
The blotter.
exactly. It would give you a quick 1 to 2 sentence of what's going on in the community, and it
Right.
allowed folks to kind of have a fill. But as you mentioned, having a spreadsheet like that not only requires you to have access to the information, but it's hard to decipher and understand, and putting in a presentable manner, like you had mentioned, is helpful. Maybe, and I see some of our friends from the media here, maybe we can utilize your expertise to help get this information out, because you know, there's one thing that presenting the information, but we want to make sure it's presented coherently and in a manner where it can't be manipulated, because it can turn into the he said, she said, the game of telephone. You know, a certain response for a certain incident can completely change, and by the time it gets to somebody else, somebody called a paramedic for cardiac arrest. The neighbor down the street, oh, I heard, did you hear there was domestic violence there? And we want to make sure that data is presented accurately. So I appreciate the effort to put it in that kind of format.
And just to mention, when you talked about media, we do have a very robust partnership with the New Mexican, the Santa Fe New Mexican. I don't know where our reporters are from, but we've been working a lot and doing training with their reporters and working with Phil Casaus, and we're trying to get other media outlets to pick up on what we're doing. And we would love to share data, create reports. Their reporters call Heather and ask her to generate reports for their most current articles and what they want to doing. And we've been seeing a lot of mentions of the Santa Fe Data Platform lately in their newspaper.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Madam Chair, if I could answer part of Councilor Garcia's question. One, I think that the data may have come from the Public Safety Advisory Committee. So I think that's where the data may have come from. And then I also want to introduce a word into the record here. We call this data visualization. So take it from a spreadsheet that nobody can read and visualize it into something like this. So these are data visualization tools that we're going to be using going forward for all the partners in the community, et cetera. So
Okay.
we'll just let you know that.
And then lastly, can it be filtered down to, I know, for example, some of the data in the website is down to districts, but can you go to a 1 mile radius,
So we have
something more micro versus?
We have two major types of data sets that we work from, and we have 3 data providers that provide different types of data. So what you're looking at here is all major data sets that pretty much anyone can get to. It's HUD, census, it's over 40 providers, over 1 million data points. And these are all, again, as Rich was saying, these are all data that anyone can access. It's just to make sense of it is almost impossible. The other piece of this that I think is one of the most valuable assets of the Santa Fe Data Platform is we also do geofencing. What that is we can geofence a building, we can geofence the plaza, we can geofence the Museum Hill, we can geofence a building, anything, a park, and look and see who's coming, who's going, with it back to 2017 and up to 3 days ago, and get really, really granular, anonymized data about who's coming, where they go before, where they go after, which is an incredibly powerful tool for all of our partners and for the city. Yeah, or do you want to come up? Why don't you come up and talk about Pride? Your baby.
So for example, when she says geofencing, what that means is we can use credit card data and cell phone data to trace where people are going before, after events, and all sorts of things. We recently worked with the Economic Development Department to work with the Human Rights Alliance, and we geofenced the exact site map that they put for the Pride Parade on June 24th. Now, they anticipated 5,000 people to attend, and the numbers were 9,100. 9,100 people came. 30% of every person who came to the Pride Parade in Santa Fe was from 30 miles or more. Number 17 in the zip codes of the people who attended is LA and New York and Denver. I mean, we had some really great national attendees. Maybe they didn't come here for the Pride Parade, but they sure came to the Pride Parade when they were here. And that was really great. So we were able to download a CSV of all the zip codes with longitude and latitude, and it gave us the exact number of people who came to the Pride Parade from each of those zip codes. We had 66 people who came from New York. We had 60 people who came from somewhere else. I mean, but it was just great to be able to see this wonderful, robust data that they would not have had access to had they not come to us and asked for this. So it was really exciting to be able to put into play the work that we're doing so they can actually commercialize, if you will, and say that the work that they're doing for our community is invaluable, right? So we have tourism numbers to prove from that, and we had 9,100 people who showed up. So, and we knew where they went before and where they went after, and they can build new partnerships and new sponsorships. So that was really exciting using mobility data.
Right. Yeah, I agree. And geofencing was a great tool during the pandemic. It helped us really understand the high need areas and how to get proper resources into those communities. Last question for you, and I'm going to play devil's advocate for a moment here. What do you say to those folks who kind of are unaware that their data is being utilized in this manner? And not taking a stance, I'm just playing devil's advocate here to.
You know, I'm preparing for my Pechacucha, and there's one slide of Big Brother. The bottom line is, if you have a cell phone and you sign an agreement, if you have a credit card, if you have Alexa, if you have Siri, if you use a navigation app, if you use a dating app, if you shop online, you're giving your data away. And so at the very beginning of this project, we had a very serious question about the ethics of using people's data. And what our team came to is that the data is going to be used, and we'd rather use it anonymized for the betterment of the community than not use it when it's there and people are using it to sell you things and to create echo chambers and biases on social media. We want to counteract the bad use of bad data and show what really, really good use of this data is, because it's out there and it's going to be harnessed, and we'd rather harness it responsibly with our partners. But I mean, I was like, this is so creepy. And I was like, well, I'm going with it. I'm going to be good though.
Well, thank you, Ms. Khan, and
Yeah.
thank you for the presentation. I really appreciate the update and look forward to, was there going to be a release date for this proposal of this new public safety report? Is that a request? What's the next steps, Rich?
That's a good question, Madam Chair, Councilor Garcia. I don't know if we have finalized all the agreement pieces because I only think you showed police, not fire. So we have to work with Kira's
We
group.
met with both of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Director Ochoa's group can figure out how we can grab that data, because this is what we did with the sustainability group. So we now have a dashboard for sustainability. So we're just adding on public safety as another one. So I don't know the timeline. Maybe you guys know the timeline, but
think
we've opened the conversation.
This was the next hurdle. We're just going to keep going.
Well, good jump. It looks good, and wish you all the best in the
Thank you
next
so
steps.
much. We really appreciate your time. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
Thank you. Counselor Lee Garcia. Oh, there's more questions. Don't go anywhere yet.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Want to shout out to the IT department. I was able to catch your full presentation.
Yay.
I was driving here on my Bluetooth.
I killed my computer on purpose for you, Counselor.
It's okay. We caught it, and thank you. My apologies for being late. But you know, just a really quick question, and it was somewhat answered also through Councilor Michael Garcia's question in regards to how is the data gathered, and you know, when it's just data that is free that you get from credit cards, get from, I mean.
The data is not free. Well, we have, as I said, we have 3 providers. So the main provider that helps us with the interface, the digital visualizations is called My Sidewalk. And they harness all of that pretty much free data. Census, HUD, public health. You can look online on our website or at their website. I think it's over 50 different data providers, different sets that they then combine to be over 1 million different data points. And then when you talk about the geofencing, we pay for that. And we have 2 different data providers that do geofencing for us, Placer AI and Datafy. And so we pay them an annual we pay everyone an annual service fee, but we pay them to put down the geofences for us and then generate the data that then we turn into reports.
Thank you. And, you know, I'm going with this is that, obviously as accurate as we can be, to have, you know, the information provided. You know, I do like the data visualization part of it. But accurate data, providing good information to people to make great decisions. And I think that is really so important with what we do, what everybody does in life, have a business. And so you pull data to make decisions.
Yeah.
Why do you make this decision? Well, it's because of this. Well, it doesn't make sense. Well, yeah, but
Right.
this is what supports it. And as long as the information that is being pulled and drawn is accurate and is true. And I think that's what a lot of times I think we need the public to understand, that we are getting true data and have that faith that
And I think it's an incredible tool for you all not to have to cave the people that are the loudest in your constituency, the loudest in your area, your district. You can actually show them data and make informed decisions using that data without having to have sort of this emotional, we've all been in city council meetings where it gets really emotional. And I think this kind of takes a lot of that out and creates so much more transparency and neutrality.
Thank you for that. Yeah, and I, you know, in college, I was a cross-country runner, and they say practice makes perfect, but perfect practice actually makes perfect. So perfect data, perfect information. Thank you.
And if I could just end with, if there's ever an issue that you as city councilors would like some information on before a city council meeting, we would be happy to support you and provide you with some sample data to show you the power.
And
Thank you. No further questions, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And on that point, I had the pleasure of being able to discuss this with both of you and how we can better utilize this as we're creating policy. And so we had talked about, if there's specific questions that you perhaps have not looked at, that if the data set is available, that we will have the opportunity to work with you all to, whatever it might be that we have a question about, grocery stores in relation to, I don't know, child poverty.
Food deserts or whatever.
Exactly. So can you speak a little bit more to that? Because I think that's also another thing that I want to make sure that members of the governing body are aware as a tool set for us.
I think that one of the most important things to note about this platform, and Councilor Garcia, I love your idea of this practice. We've been practicing for 4 years. All of our partners are proof of concept. Rich has known how much practice we've been doing. And everything that is on the website right now on this platform is a reflection of what our partners have requested of us over the past 4 years. It is constantly morphing. It is constantly changing. And so we do have an index at the top right-hand part of the website that shows all the different topics that we currently have on the dashboard. We can cross-reference, we can create reports, but also we can do all sorts of things that are not on there yet. And we want the opportunity to keep pushing boundaries, exploring new issues, and also that cross-section of questions that it can bring so much clarity. What is the intersection of rates of incarceration to access to, vegetables? We really do get some interesting granular information that starts to tell a really clear story of the city, equity, policymaking, and, improving neighborhoods, districts, and just quality of life.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it. And I'm sure there are more departments that we potentially could be partnering with as we continue to build this out. And just a reminder, this is all available to the public. Can you please say your website one more time?
SantaFeData.org. It's completely free, and both of our contact information is on there. And we are happy to always walk you through any questions or any reports you want to see.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Really appreciate both of you being here.
So grateful for you. Thank you for inviting us. Madam
Right.
Counselor.
All right, so let's circle back because we now have a quorum, so we can actually approve the agenda. So we don't need to do a roll call. Counselor Lee Garcia is here. Moving to approval from the agenda, any changes from staff or the committee? And if not, can I have a motion?
Move to
No
approve.
changes, Madam Chair. Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to the consent, was anything pulled off today?
Nothing was pulled, Madam Chair.
Okay. If nothing was pulled, can I please get a motion to approve?
Approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion and a second. Can I please get a roll call, Ms. Martin?
Counselor Lee Garcia,
Yes.
Counselor Michael Garcia,
Yes.
Chair Cassett,
Yes.
motion passes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Nothing on discussion and moving on to our last item, which is introduction of legislation. We are introducing legislation today. This is consideration of bill number 2023-23 sponsored by myself and Councilwoman Villarreal. It is a bill creating Article 18-18, the high-end excise tax for affordable housing ordinance, establishing an excise tax on the transfer of certain residential property and dedicating the revenues to affordable housing. A little bit of information about this. Essentially what this does is this ordinance and a accompanying resolution that will come forward. We'll put a measure on the ballot this November, so voters are able to decide whether an appropriate permanent funding source for the Affordable Housing Trust Fund could be this minimal one-time fee on property sales over $1 million. The 3% tax will only be applied to the dollar amount over $1 million and will be paid by the buyer. So for example, if a house is sold for $1.1 million, the tax will only be applied to the 100,000 over that million, and that tax would be $3,000. This will yield an estimated $4.5 million in new funding each year into our Affordable Housing Trust Fund. For members of the public who aren't aware, the Affordable Housing Trust Fund is, it goes directly to affordable housing, as we say, sticks and bricks and direct assistance. So groups like Santa Fe Habitat for Humanity, other social service organizations, they build affordable housing. They can provide mortgage assistance for a family that may not otherwise be able to access housing in Santa Fe. They can provide rent assistance, so either preventing somebody from becoming homeless, providing that gap funding if somebody's going to be short for a couple months, or even in some scenarios with individuals not being able to afford, that deposit, first month, last month rent, this can provide some assistance for that. And it also does assist with rehabilitation of houses for income qualified owners to prevent displacement out of their homes because they can no longer afford to fix them. Every dollar in the Affordable Housing Trust Fund is matched with at least a 3-to-1 ratio. So recently, as much as it's been more of a 7-to-1 ratio. So $4.5 million would actually yield about $13.5 million to potentially $30 million investments in affordable housing in the city. As we know, affordable housing is one of the key issues in our community. It is something that we have been really struggling with. We talk about this a lot. We are frequently looking at different policies. I see this as one leg of the stool. This is the funding piece. We still have a number of other things that we will continue to need to address to really make sure that we are providing housing so that our local population can really stay here and that we do have that diverse, equitable community that I know is so valued in Santa Fe. The Affordable Housing Trust Fund can only be used for those purposes. So it cannot be used to pay for city staff or for the staff of any of the social service nonprofit organizations that receive that funding. There's been a lot of questions about why this, why now? The 2022 median priced home is unaffordable to about 90% of Santa Fe County residents. The median income for an individual Santa Fe is $59,000, but the median sale price for homes is now $608,700 in the county. Over 30,000 workers are commuting into our city every day. Median housing prices have increased in the city 55% in the last 2 years and have doubled since 2015. The average rent has tripled in the last 10 years to over $2,000 a month. And when we're really looking at homes for working Santa Feans, all you need to do is, scour Zillow to see that they're really not there anymore. In 2019, we had 10,500 people leave the city and 11,200 people moved in. And what was really interesting is that during that time, we also began to see our area median income increase. And this had less to do with jobs available as opposed to the fact that so many individuals could no longer afford to stay here, so they were leaving. And if we look at the sales of homes over $1 million, they have doubled since 2019. And in 2022, there were over 400 homes over $1 million that were sold within the city of Santa Fe. What this proposal really does is, again, it sends this to the voters. It asks them to make a decision. We know that this is a priority in our community, and it looks at how we can address this really big challenge in our community of individuals who are coming in. And, we are so happy to have people in our city. We know what a beautiful community Santa Fe is. And we really value all of the different ideas and viewpoints and experiences that come into our city. But we can also recognize that there has been this negative impact as we've gotten an influx of people coming in, as well as home prices have risen. And that is that we are losing our local population. We're losing our workers. This is impacting the tourism industry. This is impacting healthcare. This is impacting education. This impacts many people, as I'm sure everybody can tell a story about somebody who has either had to leave Santa Fe, cannot come home, or is barely hanging on by their fingertips to be here. Councilman Villarreal and I are very proud to bring this forward. We're very excited to have this conversation with the public and the members of the governing body. Again, we know that this is not going to be the only thing that we need to look at. We also need to be looking at our different housing policies, our land use policies, to really make sure that we can get affordable units on the ground so that we can keep our population here, we can keep our workers here, we can keep families that have been here for generations, individuals who want to move home, just like I did. For the schedule, this is being introduced tonight at Quality of Life. It will go to governing body for public comment on July 12th. And for those members of the public that are listening, public comment is the opportunity for the public to come and give us information. We do not discuss it. We do not ask questions. We do not debate at that time. The first committee hearing will be the Quality of Life Committee on July 19th. It'll go to Finance on July 31st, and it will be going to the governing body for a public hearing and final passage on August 9th. So thank you all very much. Moving on to matters from staff. Any matters from staff today?
Matters from the Community Development Department, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much. And Community Health and Safety, I'm sure they're good. Any matters from the committee? No matters. And matters from the chair, I have no other matters. Our next meeting is Wednesday, July 19th. And at 5:47 p.m. we are adjourned. See you all in 13 minutes.